Welcome to the Know I'm Ashley.
I'm Mica.
I'm back from our trip, Sydney. It was lovely, but I missed everybody, and this is gonna be a rough read because my brain is completely broken, so bear with me. Big question, is Google finally getting into gaming?
Well, that might be the case according to a new report claiming the technology giant is developing not only a streaming service for video games, but also a potential console as well.
Well, yeah, they've apparently had this in the works for a while now, and it could signal the entry of a major new player into the games industry. Maybe. Streaming games has been around for a while. It's never really gotten off the ground. It still has the potential to revolutionize the way we purchase and play games, though. Yeah. Potentially.
Or this could be a complete flop, like we've seen in the past with other tech companies who have tried to get into the gaming space.
And it's happened a lot.
Yeah. While Google has made bazillions of dollars disrupting other industries.
Actual bazillions.
Yeah, video games are a completely different animal. Google and others like Apple have long talked about getting into gaming, but up until this point, they've kind of been shy about pulling the trigger, and why wouldn't you when things like the Switch exist?
Right, until now, at least.
Right.
According to the tech publication The Information, Google has been developing something called Project Yeti for a few years now, with the goal of delivering a subscription-based streaming game service either through Chromecast or maybe a brand new Google-powered console.
Yeah, and if you're out there thinking, this sounds weirdly familiar, well, you're not alone. It sounds an awful lot like PlayStation Now, but would likely come with cheaper hardware since all of its games would be handled via the cloud rather than on the system itself.
And since it's streaming, that means it's different from something like Xbox Game Pass, where you download unlimited games for a monthly fee. Still a subscription service, but streaming versus downloading makes a huge difference.
Right, and as far as Google goes, it's been well known that the company has been interested in gaming for years. And Google's definitely got its fingers in a lot of gaming adjacent ventures like the Android-focused Google Play game service and YouTube Gaming, which is its competitor to Twitch for people who want to watch gaming-related content.
Google further dipped its toe in the gaming waters a few years back with a Bluetooth Asus controller, which allowed gamers to play games from its Nexus Player Media Hub. But up until now, that's about as far as they've gotten.
Yeah, according to the information though, the top brass at Google have never fully invested in gaming projects and given them the resources that they needed. But that might have changed recently, but what changed and why?
Well, last month, Google hired gaming industry veteran Phil Harrison. And in hindsight, that may have been a hint that the company had bigger plans in the gaming space.
Yeah, Harrison might not be a household name, I've never really heard of him, but he's got a ton of game industry experience. He was a bigwig for both PlayStation and Xbox during each of those consoles' formative years, which makes him bring him on to work on a major platform project a pretty sensible choice. But what exactly are they planning in their evil Google mind?
Well, we don't have a ton of specifics yet, but here's what we know so far about the project. Again, similar to PlayStation Now or Nvidia's GeForce Now, you'd pay a subscription fee, then you get access to games that are streamed online, and according to the information, an early version was made to work over Chromecast.
But Ars Technica reports that Google has started experimenting with a controller and console that is developed in-house at Google, and that's being led by two hardware executives at the company. Again, which adds to the impression that this time, Google is investing some significant resources into gaming.
Sounds like what they're working on could potentially be in that micro console category if that's the case, like a machine that doesn't process games by itself, but streams them from a cloud.
And while obviously a console doesn't need to be very technologically advanced if you're streaming it online, your internet connection does need to be pretty beefy to cut down on things like lag that can get your character killed real quick, so sorry Australia.
Yeah, sorry Australia. Stops and starts. Yeah, sure. Fact of life when it comes to watching videos on Netflix or Hulu. If it buffers for a couple seconds, you're like, oh, this is annoying, but that's fine.
Right.
If your video game buffers for a second, that's no way. No, that will wreck your entire day. You're gonna chuck the controller. You're gonna just nope right out of it. If it's a bad experience, it's not gonna work.
Exactly. But then again, Google has been experimenting with rolling out high-speed internet in some cities through its Google Fiber service. So is there a chance that this all could be connected? Once again, going back to evil Google, knowing what they're doing?
I mean, I guess as long as you've already got Google Fiber since they stopped rolling it out. So if you're one of the lucky cities where you can have this streaming console. Like we said, this has potentially been in the works at Google for a few years now. And by some reports, actually, Google even considered launching it last year during the holiday season. Obviously, that didn't happen, but who knows, maybe this year?
We've mentioned it before, but it's kind of important to note that Google's got an uphill battle here. Other companies have made attempts at making so-called console alternatives that stream games remotely rather than doing the processing themselves. This was all the rage a few years ago.
It was gonna be like the next big thing.
Oh, I remember we had one in our house and it had like that weird spinning like interface and you would like scroll through games and pick them. It was awful. It went offline and I think we threw it in the trash. But yeah, about 2013, it was called the Year of the Micro Console because of all that stuff. Was it the Ouya? No, it wasn't the Ouya.
But do you remember the Ouya?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do, but that's not the one that I was talking about.
You remember it for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
The Ouya was a Kickstarter project. It raised more than $8.5 million, and then it released to the general public in 2013. It was also based on Android and had a lot of promise theoretically, but sales were lackluster. The games lineup was lackluster, and in the end, it was considered a commercial failure, to put it kindly.
Yeah, there was also the Amazon Fire TV, which actually had gaming capability. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Mostly was mobile stuff, though. Amazon was clearly going for the mainstream non-gamer market there. The Apple TV was also seen by many industry observers to be a potential gaming device, but that didn't really happen.
And then there was the Steam Machine, which also didn't really go anywhere. I mean, you can install Steam OS on whatever you like, I guess. But the point is that a lot of big players have tried to come out with their own consoles or their own platforms, and they haven't amounted to much, at least not on the level that the big three have.
Yeah, and while gaming has definitely changed in recent years, especially with mobile devices introducing gaming to a whole new market of casual fans,
Microtransactions are your fault!
console gaming is still dominated by the same three companies: Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo.
R.I.P. Sega. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Competition's always a good thing, especially if you've got Google's resources. It could really heat it up, get everyone innovating. It'll be interesting to see what a company with deep pockets could pull off, what it is they could do that the others haven't thought of yet. Interested, but I'm not gonna count too much on this one, at least not till we see it in action, because that latency streaming hasn't worked out yet.
Nope.
Anyway, what do you guys think of Google possibly getting into video games? Let us know in the comments.
And for all of your gaming news, be sure to like this video. And if you're new around here, subscribe to The Know. I think I remember what it was called. It was called the Indie Box.